Yeah, praise Jesus on that one. I'll start out like that. Obviously, to respond like that after a tough loss last night, a loss that could have gone either way, I just thought this was probably one of our best weekends of the year, clearly. Offensively, clearly one of our best weekends of the year. So really proud. Want to start with Dylan SQ. Tremendous outing. Tremendous. When we needed it, gave us everything we could have hoped for. So 6 1/3 shutout, and then Connor McCurry came in there with that power stuff. Just everything we hoped we would see today.
We'll start with Ricky Gabe.
Before we go any further, if I could just recognize Mr. Lindell Bradley, who was here this weekend, who I'm so proud to get to know and meet this weekend. Just want to welcome you back here. Enjoy the press conference as well. But what you've done, extremely impressive. So just want to thank you for being here all weekend.
Thank you, Coach.
Mark, you mentioned yesterday that you changed the lineup, get a little more offense in for defense, and 13 runs spoke for itself. So the defense really showed up with that new lineup. Just what could you say about them, and did you say anything to them about specifically defense yesterday?
You know, I mentioned this in the pregame show today. Every team has the 9 they think is their best defense. Every team has what they think is the 9 that's their best offense, and you generally try to find the best mix of that. And sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. If you think you need more offense, you've got to sacrifice a little defensively and vice versa. We just felt like we needed to jumpstart the offense a little bit and put our best 9 hitters in there that would give us some length in that lineup. It's obviously paid off for us this weekend. And defensively, you know, the good thing is our assistant coaches do such a great job doing homework on you know, spray charts and trying to figure out where the balls are most likely to go. So when you do that, range can be, you can mitigate, you know, maybe a little bit less range because of that. So I think you just combine all those things, and it just felt like the right time to give that a shot, and it worked really well this weekend.
We'll go Alan and Jack.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Dylan's 2 longest starts of the year. When he's going as well as he is today, what's working for him, or what allows him to kind of do what he's done these last 2 outings?
Well, after the 15-13 game last night, what you saw today were 2 very heavy sinker ball pitchers, and the first 5 half innings going to the bottom of the third, I mean, nobody could get the ball off the ground, and so you saw a lot of ground ball outs, you saw a lot of quick outs, and that's what Dylan is. Their guy, really good guy. I think he was 7-0 coming in today, and he heavy sink, and Dylan was the same way, and Dylan was just a little bit better today over the course of the game. So he threw strikes today. He only had 1 walk in 6+ innings. So when he does that with the movement on his fastball, you got a guy that can do what he just did against a top 5 team in the country.
We'll go Jack.
Sure. Mark, I got 2 for you. You've talked so much this year about, you know, fine-tuning the lineup and trying to make sure everything's 100% the way you want it. These last 2 days, you started the same starting 9 pretty much. Do you feel like this is the best combination for a lineup you've had so far this year?
Well, I would say it'd be hard to argue that right now, right? And you still have a Will Tippett who's working to get back, but it's hard to argue with the offensive production we got this weekend. And it just felt like, okay, even as you get to the bottom of the lineup, some really good things can happen. And Cass is hitting in the 9 hole today and was 2 for 4 with a run on RBI. Took some good at bats and made all the plays defensively that I can remember. So you want to have your best team when it matters the most, when the games decide who stays and who goes home. And so we'll continue to look at everything that we think might get us a little bit better and then evaluate as we go.
And then with Petrie's at bat in the third, you know, obviously he was called out, I believe. What did you see on that? And when he got back to the dugout, what was kind of the explanation on what he kind of, like, what happened on that play?
Well, that's exactly what they asked me on the SEC network. It's, you know, when you know that you're going to be on the SEC network, coaches interview the following inning, you hope nothing crazy happens that you're going to have to address when they ask you. As soon as that happened, I knew that would be the question when in the in-game interview. Basically, what you had there was a very excited Ethan Petrie, who saw the ball leave the park and forgot to look at the guy in front of him. You know, he's hit probably 150 homers in his life, and that's probably never happened to him before, and it will never happen again because he's learned the lesson. But I think he in the back of his mind, I think he expected that the runner would be well off to second base, and that he wouldn't have to worry about it. And you know, I've got to look at the video to see exactly where do I think the runner should have been. But at the end of the day, it's always the backside runner's responsibility not to pass the guy in front of him under any circumstances. and he'll learn from that. He'll learn from that.
Go with John, then Phil.
What did it mean to have Mr. Bradley, the first African-American student athlete here? And I know he addressed the team. How do you feel like they responded to his talk and his message?
Well, we had our best weekend of the year, I would say. So I'm going to give him all the credit. And I'm going to invite him to be an honorary assistant coach if he's willing to take on that role. It meant. Well, let's go then. Come on. Come on. Let's go. Absolutely. No, it's obviously what he's done for this university is obviously now very well documented. I'm so happy that we were able to honor him with an entire weekend. He spoke to our team Friday, and our kids were really excited to meet somebody so noteworthy. And then he threw out the first pitch today. I didn't get the radar reading, so I don't know how fast it was. It looked pretty good, though. Looked like you could play back in the day. And look, you can't argue with the impact he's had on our university, and so just really happy that we can honor him with such a great weekend, because based on the body language of Lindell and the family, it looks like they had a great weekend, and I'm so happy about that. So happy.
I think you were 2 for 2 on replay calls today, critical calls there. When you request a replay, do you do so kind of with a feeling that you know you're right or you're hoping you're right? And when you're right, what's the feeling in the dugout for you?
Well, there's a few things that go into that. Number one, I tell our players, give me the signal if you're about 90% that it's going to go our way. So I trust our guys. I trusted Petrie. He seemed pretty confident. Body language, you can read the body language of a player on, are they just selling you a line, or do they really believe in what they're telling you? And I thought his body language was really good. And then the one with Cole, too, I walked by Cole towards the umpires. I was, trying to figure out what to do. And he said, Coach, I think I got in there. And so, number one, you trust your players. If they tell you we should look at it, we look at it. And my second thought on that is I have yet, knock on wood, I have yet to ever run out of challenges, right? So, and late in the game, you can go to an umpire if you're out of challenges and say, hey, I still think you guys need to look at that. So until I run out of challenges, I'm going to be pretty aggressive with using them, because you can't take them to the next game. You can't store them up. So if you think there's any chance on a play that might help you, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to roll the dice, and you really don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, speaking of trusting the guys, you've spoken multiple times in these SEC series. We all came up just short that you were confident they could find that extra gear and start competing in these. So how does it feel now to see them go out there and do that and hopefully sustain that moving forward?
No, it was great to see. Look, that's a top 5 team we played, and it seems like that's all we've played for the last 6 weeks is top 5 teams. They talk about quad 1 wins. That's something that people talk about all the time, but that's 25 teams. You could play 21, 22, 23, 24 and get full credit for quad 1 wins. We're playing number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So our quad 1 wins in overall games, I think we're up to 23 or 24 now, is as high as just about anybody in the country. So to win this game, and we've been talking about getting over that last hump. We've been going toe-to-toe with Arkansas and A&M and all these teams, but to have the number 4 team come in that was 15-3 in our league before the weekend, to come in and go 2-1 versus them, and really last night could have gone either way too. I think that's something that will really give our guys some confidence that we really know now. Not only can we go toe-to-toe with anybody, we can beat anybody, and I think that will be important.
A lot of talk this year about, I guess, the situational hitting, leaving runners on base, and obviously today a lot better job of that, of a 6-run 5th inning. Obviously, you're a lot better at it. What have you guys done, I guess, adjustment-wise, to be able to make sure that when you get the runners on, you're able to bring them home and kind of capitalize?
Yeah, we just waved that magic wand today. That's all it took. I think, again, it's not a coincidence that we made the commitment to maybe add a few more bats to the lineup. And with the thought that what will it do to our defense? You added a few more veteran bats with a lot of at-bats under their belts that just kind of help it keep going and take it a little bit better at bats. And I just think at the end of the day, how you drive in runs is you have short, efficient swings. You make good swing decisions. You swing at the right pitches, and you try to stay relaxed in the moment, and you stay under control. And when we do that, we can score 10 runs. We can score 13 runs like we did the last 2 days. But the game's not easy. I think sometimes it's easy to think these kids should just hit 400 all the time. The game's hard, and our league is the hardest league in America. And our guys have been battling all year, and I'm hoping that we are now kind of hitting our groove.
It seems like Talmadge is pretty comfortable at that shortstop position. Is there anything about the way he plays the game that might suit him better at short versus third?
You know, it's like everything else, John, we talked about. There's give and take, right? He was a high school shortstop, so he's always begging me to get reps at shortstop. The reason why he's been more of a third baseman is foot speed. I mean, pretty simple foot speed. I generally like guys that are really fast at shortstop. They just have more range. But again, when you have to pick and choose what's the best total combination of an offense and a defense, you're willing to maybe sacrifice a little bit of range if it helps your offense. And the good thing is on the routine play, he's been really good. Knock on wood, he's been really good. So I think it's energized him a little bit out there defensively. He's made all the routine plays. He started some really key double plays. He's finished some double plays. He just likes being out there in the middle of the field. And again, for this weekend, it was kind of energized us.
Kennedy had a pretty big bounce back weekend after a couple tough weeks. You see anything different in his swing or his approach, and how big of a piece is that when he's going for you guys?
Well, we brought him in here to be a middle of the order hitter, and he's been that for a great majority of the year. And look, the game is going to humble you at times. He's had some great moments. He's had some tough moments, as we all have. So the good thing is he bounced back today just to kind of show that he has the ability and the maturity to play at this level. And so that's all you can ask out of your players. If you have a tough day, flush it and be ready to go the next day. He proved that today.
Mark, you mentioned quad one wins and RPI and stuff, and I know you probably don't mention that to the kids, but 3 series to go, do you start thinking about it and saying like, okay, we should be pretty good? Do you start thinking about what do I got to do to host a regional, and just as from a coach's perspective?
I mean, I look at it. I'm not going to tell you we ignore it. You look at it because the job of the head coach is to be aware of everything. But you don't talk about it with your team that much. You know what you need to do to have those things happen. But the message from a coach to the players is, here's what we need to do every day to win a game. And if you do that today and tomorrow and the next day, that stuff starts to take care of itself. But you monitor it just because it's our job to try to know everything that relates to our team and our program.